to 2-5 proportions video lesson. Go ahead and put your name and today's date in that top right hand corner. Name, there we go, date. And now our learning target for today is that I can solve proportions for a missing variable. So when we talk about proportions, we always have to kind of refresh our memory of what a ratio is. So a ratio is a comparison. Oh, there you go, try that again. Is a comparison of two different quantities. Quantities, forgot to make sure T there, quantities, there we go. And now that comparison can be as simple as knowing how many boys are in a class to the total amount of people in the class. And then you could have boys to your total amount of students written with a colon there. It still reads 2, so boys to total. And you can also write it as a fraction. So those are the 3 different ways we usually see. For the most part, fractions are the ones we see the most in high school. Those are the ones we're going to see the most today. So a proportion then is 2 ratios that are equivalent. There we go. Oh. And now with them being equivalent, that just means that they can be equal to each other. So it's going to be 2 ratios that are, say, equal to each other. So if you think about it, it's going to be a fraction that's equal to another fraction. So we solve proportions by cross-multiplying. There we go. And that's all the notes we need for today. We'll see some of our cross-multiplication in action. So example 1, we're asked to solve the proportion. We're given 10 over 5 equals n over 2. Alright, we solved this by cross multiplication. I always like to do the first one with my variable. You don't have to, it doesn't matter. I'm going to do 5 times n. And then you always drop down your equal sign. And then our next cross multiplication is 10 times 2. And now 5 times n is 5n equals 10 times 2 is 20. To solve for n, we're going to divide both sides by 5. And n equals 4. There we go. And now to check it, you know me, we always check our first few that we do to make sure we got the right answers, we know what we're doing. We have our 10 over 5 equals n over 2. This time I know n is 4, so 10 over 5 equals 4 over 2. A couple of different things you can do. You can reduce each fraction and say 10 over 5 is 2 equals 4 over 2 is 2. And 2 does equal 2, so that works. Or you can cross multiply again and see if those two numbers equal each other. So you can reduce the fractions and or do 10 times 2 and get 20 equals 5 times 4, which is 20. And that also checks. So there's 2 different ways to make sure you got your proportion correct. Alright, example 2. We have x over 2 equals 9 over 6. And now we're going to cross multiply. So I start with my variable first, so x. So I'm going to do x times 6. And this time I'm going to write just the answer. We won't worry about showing the multiplication. So x times 6 is 6x. Drop down our equal sign. 2 times 9 is 18. Last step to solve for x is to divide both sides by 6. 6's cancel, x equals 3. And for this one, let's do a real quick check and just plug in 3 here. So 3 over 2 can't reduce, so I can say that way. You can say 9 over 6 can reduce to 3 over 2, so that works. Or the 3 divided by 2 is 1.5, and 9 divided by 6 is 1.5, so that checks. Alright, example 3. We have 2 over j plus 3 equals 4 over 5. Now this one has a binomial in it, which means this one has 2 terms. So bicycles have 2 wheels. Our denominator here has two terms, so binomial. We're still going to cross multiply, but this time when I keep my variable first, my j plus 3 times 4, I'm going to have to keep my j plus 3 in parentheses to keep it all together. So I'm going to say it's going to be 4 times j plus 3 equals, now we can do this on our head, 2 times 5 gives us 10. And now it's a multi-step equation, so I'm going to distribute. My 4 times j is 4j. 4 times 3 is 12 equals 10. Now to solve for j, we're going to transpose our 12 and get 4j equals 10 minus 12. And now 10 minus 12 is going to give us negative 2. So 4j equals negative 2. Divide both sides by 4. And j is going to equal, or j, I don't know where a y came from. Try that again. There we go. J is going to equal negative 2 over 4 reduces to a negative 1/2. There we go. And we're all set. Now we'll see another one that has a binomial in it. So example 4. We have negative 4/5 equals 8 over z minus 5. So once again, to keep that binomial together, keep it in parentheses, and when we'll distribute it, there we go, we'll end up with negative 4 times z minus 5 equals, and now we do this part in our head, 5 times 8 gives us 40. Now we're to a multi-step equation where we distribute. Negative 4 times z is negative 4z. Negative 4 times negative 5 is positive 20 equals 40. Transpose my plus 20 and negative 4z equals 40 minus 20 will give us 20. So negative 4z equals 20. Divide both sides by negative 4. Negative 4's cancel. And z equals 20 divided by negative 4 is negative 5. So z equals negative 5. Very good. Our example 5 here is one that has two binomials in it. So we got 7 over 5 equals p plus 4 over p plus 6. Now we are going to cross multiply again, but remember, keep it in parentheses. I'm going to do my 7 times p plus 6 equal sign drops down again, and my 5 times p plus 4. Once again, keep it in parentheses. 5 times p plus 4. This time we have a multi-step equation with the variable on both sides. So we're going to distribute first. 7 times p is 7p. 7 times 6 is 42. Equals 5 times p is 5p. And 5 times 4 is 20. Now take variables to the left, so I already have a 7p on the left. Bring over my 5p, it becomes a minus 5p, equals numbers on the right, so 20 drops down. And my positive 42 becomes a minus, there we go, click off that one, minus 42. There we go, so 7p minus 5p is 2p. 20 minus 42 is a negative 22. Divide both sides by 2. And p equals negative 11. And we're all set. And that finishes us up for our